Good day to each and everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to chapter 6 of the subject Introduction to Criminology. No? And in chapter 6 of the subject, we will discuss about penology. Okay, so what is the scope of our discussion in this short video presentation? First, we will discuss what is penology. No? Second, we'll discuss what is punishment and what are the different types of punishment that is being imposed if a certain person committed a crime. We will also discuss the duration of penalty. And last but not the least, we will discuss the Philippine correctional system. No? Didiscuss natin kung saan nga ba dinadala yung pong isang taong nahatulan ng korte. No? Dahil doon sa kanyang krimen na ginawa. No? In the previous chapter, we have discussed what is crime. No? The certain person committed a crime which is in violation of law, and therefore, ang kanyang na-commit ay tinatawag pong crime, no? Pag na-violate yung law. Pagka naman siya ay nahatulan ng korte, was finally convicted by a competent court for violation of criminal law, then such person is considered as a criminal. Okay? Yan. Ngayon, kapag ka nahatulan ng korte, yung pong isang tao na nakakommit ng crime or nag-violate ng batas, o saan po siya dinadala at ano po ang gagawin sa kanya? Ha? Yan. So, dyan naman po papasok yung pong penology. Okay? Yan. So, umpisahan na po natin. Objectives, no? At the end of the topic, the students should be able to, ano dapat ang kaya niyong gawin after ng ating discussion na ito, you should be able to identify correctly the basic concept about penology. So, meaning to say, if I will give you a quiz, then you can identify the terms that are being discussed, okay? How you can identify it correctly. Second, you should be able to compare and contrast the early forms of punishment and contemporary forms of punishment. If I will ask you later on what are the difference and similarities of the early forms of punishment and the contemporary or the modern forms of punishment, then you should be able to give the difference and similarities. No? And third, you should be able to explain the early forms of discipline, the justification of punishment, why punishment is being imposed if a certain person commits a crime. And of course, you should be able to discuss the duration of penalties. And you should also be able to discuss the Philippine correctional system. No? So ano nga ba yung pong iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno na nangangalaga doon po sa tinatawag nating PDL or yung pong person deprived of liberty. Okay? Yan. So, yung po kasi isang tao, pag nahatulan ng korte, ay tinatawag pong kriminal. No? Kriminal na po ang kanyang or address sa kanya. Subalit, yan po ay pinagbabawal dahil yan daw po ay tagging. No? Parang nilalagyan natin ng brand ng isang tao. No? That's why hindi daw po criminal ang tawag pag nasa correctional institution. Ang tawag sa kanila is PDL or person deprived of liberty. Okay? So, umpisahan na po natin ang ating discussion by defining what is a penology. Ano nga ba ang penology? Okay? So, penology, ladies and gentlemen, is the study of punishment. Ito po'y pag-aaral ng kaparusahan sa krimen na ginawa or doon po sa criminal offenders. O pag-aaral ng kaparusahan or punishment for the crime or for criminal offenders. Okay? So it was derived from two terms. Pena, which is means suffering or pain, and logi means to study. Study of pain or suffering is being imposed because of commission of crime. Okay, and this punishment is being imposed to criminal offenders. As simple as that, no? It includes the study of control and prevention of crime. Of course, kapag ang isang tao ay kinulong, then you can prevent the occurrence of crime. O yung isang tao ay na-rehabilitate na, no? Nagbago, yan, na-reform, then paglabas niya, hindi nagagawa ng krimen. That is one of the scope of penology, no? The prevention of crime. Okay, so yun po ay pinag-aaralan sa penology. Yung pong punishment for the crime that was committed or the punishment that could be imposed to criminal offenders, which produces pain or suffering. Okay? So, the word penology is a term, no, which was derived from Latin word puena. Puena, Latin, then tsaka naging penology. Okay? So, in other books, it may have also been derived from the word poinalis. Now, poinalis, which means pain and, or suffering. Okay? So, meaning to say, if a certain person have committed a crime, the government, no, should impose a punishment to a certain offender which produces pain or suffering. O dapat yung i-impose daw ng ating gobyerno ay dapat nakakapagdulot ng pagdurusa or sakit doon po sa isang taong nakakomit ng krimen. No? So that is penology, the study of punishment that could be imposed upon a certain person who committed a crime of yung pong criminal offenders. Okay? Yan. So tandaan, ito po ay maaring galing po sa word na Latin na puena, which means pain or suffering, or poinalis. Okay? And of course, yung logi derived from the Latin term logos, which means to study. So it is literally, it is a study of punishment. No? Yan. So the root word of penology, of course, is penal, which means punishment. Another, penology is also otherwise known as penal science. When you say science, it is a systematic study. That is penal, that is penalty. Okay, so it is the systematic study of a penalty that could be imposed on a certain person who committed a crime. No? Or it is the study or systematic study of penalty that can be imposed because of commission of right. Okay. It is actually a division of criminology that deals with prison management. Okay. The treatment of offenders. Yan. Para sila po ay magbago, you need to treat them because according to the positivist theory, criminals are sick individuals who need to be rehabilitated, who need to be treated. So, di ba? And concerned itself with the philosophy and practice of society in the effort to repress criminal activities. Okay, so kasama na yung effort ng ating komunidad para sa ganon ay mabawasan, no, yung pong criminal activities. Okay, so kasama dito yung pong pagpapakulong doon po sa mga taong nag-commit ng crime at kasama rin dito yung pong community-based treatment kung tawagin or community rehabilitation, no? Yan. And we will discuss this in the succeeding slides. Okay? So, what is corrections naman? We have already discussed, no, in the previous chapter kung ano ang corrections. It is one of the pillar of criminal justice system. No, it is fourth pillar of the criminal justice system. Okay, but specifically, no, corrections is a branch of the criminal justice system concerned with ano ba ang trabaho ng correction system or correction pillar ng criminal justice system. So the correction pillar of criminal justice system is responsible for custody, pangangalaga, no, doon po sa ating mga kapatid na nahatulan, no. Supervision, no, they supervise those people who are convicted, the final judgment, and those awaiting for trial, okay, or awaiting for final judgment. Okay, they are also responsible, or the correction pillar is also responsible for rehabilitation. Okay, pag-rehab sa mga criminal offenders para sa ganon ay sila po'y magbago. Okay, so bali tatlo yung kanilang main functions. Custody, pangangalaga; supervision, they will supervise Para sa ganun, hindi makagawa ulit ng crime, no? And of course, rehabilitation para sa ganun po magbago yung pong criminal offenders. Okay? Yan. So sa criminology course ay meron po tayong specific subject, no, para po si correction pillar. Okay? So meron tayong tinatawag na institutional correction subject. Meron pong community-based corrections o yung pong non-institutional corrections. Pag-aaralan din po nyo yan. And you will also discuss the different therapeutic modalities, no, that can be used para sa ganon ay magbago yung pong isang offender. Okay? So correction, it is the field of criminal justice administration which utilize the body of knowledge and practice of the government and the society in general, involving the process of handling individuals who have been convicted offenses for purpose of crime prevention and control. Okay, so kasama dito yung pong paano i-handle yung pong or paano hinahandle yung pong ating government yung pong isang taong nahatulan, no? Ah, or nahatulan na ng korte, paano nila hinahandle yung mga yon? Okay? So ano ba yung dalawang pamamaraan ng pag-handle ng ating gobyerno doon po sa mga taong nahatulan ng pagkakasala dahil po sa paglabag sa batas. Meron yung tinatawag nga natin na institutionalized treatment kung saan yung isang tao ay makukulong at meron din po yung tinatawag na non-institutional treatment. Okay? Kapag ka ang penalty is less than 6 years. Okay? Or 6 years below. Ganon, no? So, pwede pong mag-apply na tinatawag na probation. Ganon, no? Yan po ang corrections. Okay? So, what are the three main legal system kung saan po nakabase yung pong penology or correctional or corrections ng bawat bansa. Okay? So, the three main legal systems which the laws, no, are being anchored is we have the Roman law. Okay? Diyan po nakabase kasi yung pong mga legal system. No? Yan. Kasi yung po naman ang ginagamit ng korte para sa pagdidesisyon kung yung mga pag-isang tao ay criminal or hindi. Of course. No? Saan ba nakabase yung pong penalty? No? Yung po sa batas, siyempre. So, the three main legal systems which our criminal law are anchored to is we have the Roman law, the legal system in ancient Rome, no? The most widely used legal system today, and terms are sometimes used synonymously. So, example po is yung Mohammedan, or second, yung pong Mohammedan or Arabic law, okay, in Muslim areas, they have the so-called Sharia, no? Or Sharia, yan. It is Arabic word for Islamic law, also known as law of Allah. It shows one of the many ways that humanity strives to harmonize and maintain internal and external belief system in holistic approach of life. Yan. Then we have the Anglo-American laws, the common law system, principles and rules grounded in universal custom or natural law, and developed, articulated, and applied by courts in the process designed for resolution of individual controversies. In general sense, the common law is a historic basis, no? Dahil ito po ay nagpasalin-salin mula po sa henerasyon to generation. At ito po ay nakita na ito nga po ay maganda para sa pag-resolve ng conflicts. Okay? Yan. So, dyan po naka-base yung pong imposition of punishment to criminal offenders. Yan, no? So, ano yung mga early codes, no, na basihan sa pagpapataw ng parusa ng korte, no? Na ine-execute naman nung pong iba't ibang ahensya ng ating government, no? So, the early codes or some of the early codes includes Babylonian and Sumerian codes. Example is the Code of King Hammurabi, no? Or the Hammurabi Code. Okay, in Babylon, about 1990 BC, credited as the oldest code, yung pong Babylonian, no? Code, or yung Code of Babylon. So, yung Code of King Hammurabi. Ayan, no? It is the oldest code prescribing savage and barbaric punishment, no? But in fact, the Sumerian codes were nearly 100 years older. Oh, nag-ideklara kasi na ang pinaka-oldest code is yung Code of King Hammurabi. Okay, so the Code of King Hammurabi is the code which introduced the principle of lex talionis. Okay? So yung batas, yung pong Code of King Hammurabi, ang na-introduce niyang prinsipyo or principle is yung lex talionis principle. Ang lex talionis principle, yun po yung nagsasabi na an eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. Sabi nga, no? So, niloloko ko nga minsan, sabi ko, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, gums to gums. Ibig sabihin nun, an eye for an eye, sabi doon, no? Kung ano ang inutang, yun din dapat ang kabayaran, no? Yun po yung Code of King Hammurabi. It introduces the lex talionis principle. Okay, it says that an eye for an eye. Yan, no? So, it is considered as oldest, pero not lately, sabi nila na na-discover na may older law pala or may older code, or that is the Sumerian code, no? And we have also the Roman and Greek codes, the Justinian code, which was established by Emperor Justin of Rome, no? In the Justinian code, there is an effort to match a desirable amount of punishment to all possible crime. Kumbaga, dapat sakto lang yung penalty sa bawat crime na na-commit. Okay? Yan. So, the penalty should be corresponding to the crime that was committed. No? So, the Justinian Code left a foundation of Western legal codes. Yan, dyan po na-derive or kinuha ng mga Westerners yung pong batas nila na ginagamit sa kanilang bansa. Okay? Oh, we have also the 12 tables, no, or the 12 tables code, kung tawagin. It is the earliest codification. Yung say codification, tinipon, no, or kinonsolidate, no, consolidated yung Roman law. They codified the Roman law, or they incorporated it, or they consolidated it, no, into the Justinian Code. It is a foundation of all public and private law of the Romans until time of Justinian. It is a collection of legal principles engraved on metal tablets and set up on the forum. So, pinagsama-samang mga batas. Yan, no? At nilagay doon po sa metal tablets. No? Then we have also the Greek Code of Bracco. In Greece, the Code of Bracco provides a harsh code or harsh punishment. That's why it is considered as harsh code that provides the same punishment for both citizens and the slaves as incorporates primitive concept. Okay? Yung pong tinatawag na vengeance or paghihiganti at saka yung pong blood feuds. Yan, no? So, the Greek were the first society to allow any citizen to prosecute the offender in the name of the injured party. So dito galing yung tinatawag na private crimes, no? Na kung saan instead na people of the Philippines versus the accused, yung title, hindi, kundi yung pong pangalan ng pong victim versus pangalan ng suspect, no? So yung private crimes, tulad po sa private crimes sa Pilipinas, yung pong acts of lasciviousness, ganyan, no? Unjust vexation, yan. We have also the Burgundian Code in 580. The Burgundian Code specified punishment according to social class. Ito medyo mukhang hindi po siya maganda, no? Kasi yung punishment ay base doon po sa iyong katayuan sa buhay, di ba? So unfair, in short, okay? Because the Burgundian Code specified punishment according to the social status or social class of offender, dividing them into nobles, yan yung pong mga matataas ang katayuan sa buhay, mga mayayaman, middle class, no? At saka yung lower class, yung mga poor katulad natin o katulad ko. Yeah? And specifying the value of life of each person according to social status. Yeah? So medyo unfair. Ito pong Burgundian Code. Bakit? Kung nakakataas ka, mas importante yung buhay mo kumpara doon po sa mga lower class ng society. So that is the Burgundian code. Oh, pero minsan pagka nakikita natin kahit ngayon sa modernong panahon, no, kapag ang nakasuhan po ay senator, abay pag nakulong, abay special ang treatment, no? Pero kapag ay poor, katulad ko, yan, ay iba ang treatment. Oh. Dinadala sa overcrowded areas, kulungan. So yun po, no? Oh, sabi natin parang hindi or parang unfair pero hanggang ngayon naman, no? Yan, so yung pong Burgundian Code, yun po galing, yung pong classification ng pong mga criminal offenders base doon po sa kanilang katayuan sa buhay. No? That is Burgundian Code. Yan. So how about here in the Philippines? Meron bang mga lumang batas na basihan sa pagpapataw ng punishment? No, meron, no? We have the Code of Kalanchao, promulgated in 1433. It is considered as the oldest code in the Philippines. No, it is the most extensive and severe law that prescribe harsh and barbaric punishment. Yung full Code of Kalanchao. Yung pagka dumadaan ka sa buntod ng isang patay, no, bawal po na mag-ingay, no? Bawal po na ah, bawal po na humihiyaw-hiyaw, no? Ayan. O bawal na kumontra sa mga magulang. Ayan. That is punishable by death. You know. So that is Code of Kalanchao, no? Then we have the Maragtas Code by Datu Sumakwel. The Visayans set up a form of government for mutual protection and prosperity. Pag sinabing mutual protection, no? Mutual. Ibig sabihin, kapag ka may lumusog doon po sa ibang tribo ay may sasaklolo na ibang tribo. No? That is mutual protection and prosperity. So Dato Sumakwel, who was regarded as the chief of the entire island of Panay, was assisted by 4 subordinates. We have Lubay, Paduhinog, Dumalugdog, and Dumangsol. So meron silang kasunduan na kapag ang isang tribo ay inaatake, so responsibility ng pong mga ibang tribo para tumulong. Yan. So yun po nasa Maragtas sa Code ni Dato Sumakwel. Then we have also the Sikatuna Law. Dato Sikatuna or Katunaw was a Datu or chieftain of Bohol Kingdom, no? Or Kidatawan of Kapitan in island of Bohol, okay, in Philippines. He made blood compact or sanduan and alliance with the Spanish explorer Miguel Lopez de Legazpi on March 15, 1565. At Hinawanan Bay, Barangay Hinawan, Laway, their blood compact is the first treaty or agreement of friendship between Spain and Philippines. Yan po yung Sikatuna Law, the agreement between a Filipino who is a Datu and Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, okay, for mutual protection. It is a treaty, okay, of friendship. Yeah. Okay. So then of course lately na nung sinakop ng Pilipinas. Sinakop ng Pilipinas talagang nanakop, ano? So nung sinakop ng Espanya ang Pilipinas, okay? Ay dinala po nila yung kanilang criminal law dito sa Pilipinas, mga kapatid. At noong January 1, 1932 ay promulgate na yung pong ating revised penal code, okay, na basihan ng pag-i-impose ng penalty sa mga krimen na nakasaad sa ating revised penal code of the Philippines. Oh. So ang ating revised Penal Code of the Philippines is composed of Book 1 and Book 2. Na pag-aaralan nyo later on sa inyong Criminal Law 1 and Law 2. Yan. 1932 pa yon na ipasa. Okay, so ngayon, yung pong mga batas na basihan sa pag-impose ng penalty, meron po tayong tinatawag na revised penal code, yun po yung main na basis sa pag-impose ng penalty sa mga crimes kasi andun po yung iba't ibang klase ng crime. No? Special penal laws, okay, as we have discussed earlier in the different types of laws. That's why I did not included those laws. So, ano pa, yung pong mga presidential decrees, okay, batas pambansa, executive orders, okay, yan. So, revised penal code po yung pinaka-main na basis no, na pag-impose ng penalty ng mga iba't ibang klase ng crime. However, there are already specific laws punishing specific type of crime. Okay? So, what is punishment? Okay? What is punishment? Ano nga ba ang punishment? Okay? Kasi sabi doon sa definition of penology, penology is the study of punishment. Okay? So, what is punishment? Punishment is the redress that the state takes against an offending member of the society that usually involves pain and suffering. Okay, so ito po ay remedyo ng ating estado laban doon po sa offending member ng society, no? Na offending kasi nakagawa siya ng isang act which offends the society or offends a member of the community. And this remedy of the state against an offending member of the society usually involves pain and suffering. Okay? Yan. So that is punishment. So ito po yung remedyo na ginagawa ng ating estado o ating bansa, okay, laban sa isang tao na lumabag sa batas na naka-offend sa isang miyembro ng ating society na kadalasan ay nag-i-involve po ito ng pagdurusa. Sabi nga dyan, no? Yan, yung pagdurusa na yan, ang tawag dyan is penalty. Kasi ang penalty is the pain or suffering. Yan, no? So take note, no? Punishment is the redress that the state takes place or the remedy that the state will do, okay, against an offender. Okay? That remedy usually involves pain or suffering. Para sa ganun ay madisiplina yung kung isang tao naka-offend ng isang miyembro ng society. No? So, punishment, it is also the penalty imposed on the offender for a crime or wrongdoing. Yan. So, it is the penalty. Kasi yung penalty, and that is the pain or suffering. Yan. Kaya sa ibang libro, sabi doon, punishment is the penalty that is imposed. What is penalty? Penalty is the pain or suffering. Yan. No? So, what are the ancient forms of punishment? Ano yung mga lumang klase ng pagpaparusa, no? So, of course, one of the most controversial form of punishment, no, is death penalty. Okay? So, death penalty, kamatayan, no? So, it is carried out by burning. Yan yung mga old type of death penalty. Panununog, no? Beheading, pagtanggal ng ulo. Yan. Hanging, breaking at the wheels. Yan. So, pillory, and other forms of medieval executions. Okay? Andiyan yung tutuhugin ka. Yan. So, death penalty po yan, mga kapatid. No? So, kamatayan. Lately, meron namang death penalty, no? Under the modern forms of punishment, may death penalty, but through the use of electrocution. And lately, yung lethal injection. Pero sabi nga ng Roman Catholic Church, no, ang pagpatay pa rin sa isang tao ay hindi ay yan po'y kasalanan sa mata ng Diyos. Kaya po naipasa ulit ang batas prohibiting the imposition of death penalty dito sa Pilipinas, no? Then we have also physical torture. So pagtutorture, di ba? Physically, that is imposition of penalty that could cause physical suffering. So, it is carried out through maiming. Yan. Babalatan ka ng buhay. Di ba? So, mutilation, ayan, puputulin kung ano man yung puputulin. Whipping, ayan, alam niyo naman yung whipping, pagpalo, kung ano, latigo, and other inhumane, hindi makatao, and barbaric forms of pain or inflicting pain. Ayan. Susunog-sunugin na o unti-untihin yung part ng katawan mo, ganun. So, physical torture. Any type of imposing penalty which could produce physical pain. Yan, sakit ng katawan. So lahat ng pamamaraan ng pagpapahirap na kung saan nagdudulot ng sakit ng katawan, ang tawag natin doon ay physical torture. Yan. So we have also social degradation. Ano yung social degradation? Ito po yung pagpapahiya doon po sa ah, isang offender, no? Tulad ng ducking on stool, no? Tulad nung pararampahin ka, yung walk of shame, ayan, pararampahin ka na nakalagay doon, ako ay isang magnanakaw, wag akong tularan, ayan. That is social degradation, pagpapahiya, no? We have also banishment or exile. Ano yung banishment of exile? Sending or putting away of an offender which was carried out either by prohibition against coming into specified territory, such as an island to where the offender has been removed. Yun po yung palalayasin ka dahil nakagawa ka ng krimen at hindi ka na pwedeng pumasok doon sa bansa kung saan ka nag-commit ng krimen. So, ang tawag dyan is banishment or exile. Okay? Yan. Then, ano pa? They have also other forms of punishment like transportation o dadalhin sa ibang bansa or slavery. Yung nakakomit ng krimen ay magiging slave. Okay? So those are the early forms of punishment, ladies and gentlemen. Mga luma na klase ng pagpaparusa. Ayan. So let us proceed doon naman sa contemporary forms of punishment. When you say contemporary, ito po yung mga modern forms of punishment na ito po ay ginagamit hanggang ngayon. No? So first is imprisonment. Yun po yung pagpapakulong. Instead of death penalty, instead na papatayin, kukulong na lang. Kasi pagka ikinulong mo, ay meron pang pag-asang magbago yung pong taong nakakumit ng krimen. Pero kung pinatay mo, wala na. Diba? So, imprisonment is the putting the offender in prison for purpose of protecting the public. Protecting the public kasi kung ang isang tao ay nakakulong, nakagawa ng krimen, siyempre wala siyang kalayaan, no? Wala siya sa komunidad para makagawa ulit ng krimen. That's why imprisonment is putting the offender in prison, no? In order to protect the public against criminal activities. And at the same time, rehabilitating the prisoners. Di ba? By requiring them to undergo institutional treatment program. In short, pagka ikinulong mo ang isang tao, ay meron pa siyang chance para magbago sa pamamagitan ng pag-impose ng mga rehabilitation programs. Okay? Yan, pagpapakulong, imprisonment. We have parole. Ano ang parole? No? Parole is a conditional release of the prisoner after serving part of his or her sentence in prison. Okay? So yun po ay, ikaw po ay pansamantala na palalayain pagkatapos mo na ma-serve yung pong 1/3 of your sentence. No? So, na-serve mo part of your sentence, okay? At ikaw ay nagpakabuti sa loob ng kulungan, ay pwede ka pong pakawalan. No? Yan. So, yan po ay parol. Parolado ang tawagin. Diba? Pagka ikaw po ay nagpakabait sa kulungan, pagkatapos na-serve mo yung 1/3 of your sentence, that is part of your sentence, okay? Then, you can be granted for parole. Okay? Pwede, no? Pwede kang magrantan ng parole. Yan. So, yun po yung pag-aaralan ng tinatawag ng Boards of Pardon and Parole para ikaw ay maparulan. Probation. No? Ano naman ang probation, mga kapatid? No? Ito po ay isa sa pinakabagong klase ng punishment. What is probation? It is a disposition or a when we say ano ba, disposition, di ba? Ito po ay nasa korte na, no? Ah, na kung saan ang defendant, yung pong suspect or defendant or yung pong sabi ninyo is akusado, no? After conviction, pagkatapos siyang mahatulan, ay magkakaroon ng suspension of sentence. No? Then, the penalty of which does not exceed 6 years, basta ang yung hatol o yung hatol is hindi po lalagpas ng 6 years, is released. Pakakawalan po siya with the condition imposed by the releasing court. So, court po ang nagbibigay ng probation. No? And under the supervision of probation officer. Ang probation is part of what we call as non-institutional treatment. Ibig sabihin, hindi po mag-i-stay sa loob ng kulungan yung pong isang nahatulan. Kundi pagkatapos niya or pagkatapos madinig yung pong kanyang kaso, no? At na-convict siya, yung penalty po is masususpindi, no? Pagkatapos siya po ay magse-serve ng kanyang parusa sa labas, so habang nasa community siya kasama ang kanyang pamilya. Pero may mga kondisyones na dapat susundin, okay? Yung mga kondisyon na 'yon ay sasabihin po ng korte na nagbigay sa kanya ng probation. Pero yung po pwedeng mga makakuha ng probation, no, ay yung pong mga na-specify under PD 968, no, as amended by 10707. Okay, so we will be able to know those things when we will reach the subject non-institutional correction. Okay, yan. So this is just an introductory part na meron palang probation, di ba? Pag ang isang tao ay nahatulan pala, ay pwedeng mag-apply ng probation kung ang penalty na na-impose sa kanya, ano, or yung penalty niya ay doon sa krimen na kanyang ginawa, hindi po lalagpas sa 6 na taon. No? So pwede po yan. Or hindi po siya na-disqualified or hindi po siya disqualified under PD 968. May pagkabata kasi, ang probation is ibinibigay under PD 603. No? Pero pagka adult probation, that is under PD 968 dito sa ating bansa as amended. No? Ano pa? You have imposition of fine. Sabihin, pagpapabayad mga kapatid. Fine is an amount given as a compensation for criminal act. Ayan, kabayaran. Fine. Dahil sa ginawa mong crime. Then, of course, we have this chero. Ito po ay modernong klase ng punishment or exile. Sa doon po sa ancient form, that is banishment or exile, palalayasin ka, no? Pero dito sa dischero, na nasa revised penal code, dischero is the penalty of banishing a person from a place where he committed the crime, prohibiting him to get near 25-kilometer perimeter but not more than 250-kilometer radius. Yan, 250 kilometers. Di ba? Kung dito ka nakakommit ng crime, ayan. So, bawal kang lumapit within 25 kilometers. Okay? Pero hindi ka dapat lalagpas naman ng 250 kilometer radius. Ayan. Yun po ang dischero. Okay? Yan. So, those are the contemporary forms of punishment or the modern forms of punishment, ladies and gentlemen. No? So, kung titingnan natin ay medyo makatao, kumbaga, no? So, kasi wala na yung pabalatan ka ng buhay, no? Padadaanan ka ng gulong, no? Wala na yung susunog-sunugin ka, di ba? So, ano na lang yung mga forms of punishment, imprisonment, di ba? Kukulong ka, paparulang ka, pagka na-serve mo yung part of your sentence, okay? Pwede rin mag-apply ka ng probation, pagka 6 years ang penalty mo pababa, and if you are not disqualified under the law. It's up to the court naman Yung court po ang magde-decide whether bibigyan ka ng probation o hindi. No? And you have fine na magbabayad and dischero. Palalayasin ka nang hindi ka makakapasok o hindi ka dapat papasok within 25-kilometer radius but not more than 250 kilometers. Okay? So, ano naman po yung early forms of prison discipline? Ano yung mga ginagawa para sa ganun? Yung pong mga nakakulong ay disiplinahin yung pong mga namamahala sa kulungan. Okay? So, early forms of prison discipline includes hard labor. Pagka sinabi natin hard labor, ladies and gentlemen, ang isang tao na nakakulong ay pagtatrabahuin po siya ng mga mabibigat na trabaho, no? Lalo-lalo na kung siya po ay nakagawa ng violation ng prison. So that is hard labor. Okay, he will be assigned to jobs that are considered hard, no? Or mahirap po, no? Yan. So we have deprivation. Ano yung deprivation? Pag sinabi nating deprivation, meron pong tatanggalin sa kanya na privilege. Okay? For example, ay pagbabawal po siyang kumain ng isang meal. Yan. So kung dati-dati kumakain siya ng umaga, tanghalian at hapon, dahil meron siyang violation, ay pwede pong i-deprive or pwede pong tanggalin yung pong kanyang pribilehyo. No? Yan. Na deprivation. You have also monotony. Ano yung monotony? Yung routine nila, iisa lang. Ibig sabihin, mag-assign ng daily, boring na daily routine. Monotony. Pare-parehas yung activities. Okay? So, boring activities yung i-assign. No? So, we have also uniformity. Okay? So, ano ba yung uniformity? Kumbaga sa isang selda, no? The act of one is the act of all. The fault of one is the fault of all. Di ba? Para sa ganun, disiplinahin nyo yung inyong mga kasamahan. Kasi kapag may ginawa yung isa ng violation, lahat kayo malilintikan. Yun po ang uniformity. No? We have also mass movement. No? Yung mass movement, yun yung sabay-sabay kayong maliligo, yung maramihan, sabay-sabay kakain. Yan, mass movement. Okay? Then, you have degradation. Ito po yung pag-iinsulto, sabi ninyo, no? Or pagsasabi ng mga insulting words. That is called degradation. Okay? Yan. Then, we have corporal punishment. Ano yung corporal punishment? No? So, imposing punishment na kung saan ay nasasaktan yung pong isang tao, yan, o tatadyakan, gano'n, susuntukin, yun. Then you have isolation or solitary confinement. So ito po yung sinasabi natin na Bartolina, na kung saan yung pong isang preso ay wala pong kausap, gano'n. It is called as incommunicado, or yung tinatawag na the lone wolf. Ayan. So sa ating salita sa Pilipinas, yan yung Bartolina, no? Pero yun, ito yung ipinagbabawal na, yung pong isolation. Dadalhin ka sa isang lugar na madilim, yan, mag-isa mo lang na doon, doon ka na rin tatae, doon ka na rin iihi, ayan, doon ka na rin matutulog, yan, that is isolation. Or yung pong tinatawag natin na Bartolina or solitary confinement. Okay? Yan. Okay. Susunod, justification of punishment. Okay? So, why punishment are being imposed? Ano ba yung mga reason? Ano ba yung mga justifications? Okay? Yan. So, what are the justifications of punishment? Why punishment are being imposed? No? And what are the conditions of the imposition of punishment to be justified? Okay? Para masabi natin justifiable yung kung ini-impose mo. Yan. So, ano ba yung mga conditions na dapat mo sunod para justified yung pong pag-impose ng punishment? Para makatarungan yung pag-impose ng punishment. Ano ba yung mga kondisyones? Ba? So what are the justifications of imposition of punishment? We have retribution. Yan. So ano yung retribution? Offenders should be punished because they committed a crime, because they deserve it. Yun po ang isa sa justification of punishment. nakagawa ng krimen, so karapat-dapat lamang siyang parusahan. That is a retribution. Oh, they deserve that. That's why they need to be punished. Oh, di ba? We have expiation or atonement. Ano ba yung expiation or atonement? Yung po yung tinatawag na group vengeance. Group vengeance. That is expiation or atonement. O kaya karapat-dapat lamang na parusahan. Para sa ganon, kung hindi mo parusahan yan, baka magkakaroon ng gantian. Ngayon, kaya nagkaroon ng tinatawag po natin na public crime. Yun yung title nun is People of the Philippines versus the Accused. Yan. So that is expiation, no? Pero yung old, of course, na expiation or atonement, that is group vengeance. Okay? Ibig sabihin, grupo by grupo. Tribo per tribo, yung pong sisingit doon po sa kasalanang ginawa ng pong isang tao. We have deterrence. Ano yung deterrence? Deter. From the word deter, no? Punishment is imposed to warn potential offenders. Okay? So, ang deterrence, dalawa. Oh. So, the purpose of punishment in deterrence is that so that the potential offender will not duplicate the acts that is committed by the person who committed the crime. No? Para hindi siya pamarisan, in short, that is deterrence. For example, may rapist nung ginawa, kinulong. Para sa ganon, yung pong mga nag-iisip na at nagbabalak na manggahasa ay matakot. Okay? So, ang tawag natin doon is general deterrence. If one person serve as an example to others, that is called as general deterrence. Okay? Kapag ka naman yung isang taong nakulong na ay ayaw nang ulitin yung kanyang ginawa dahil alam niya na mahirap palang makulong, ang tawag naman doon is specific deterrence. Okay? So, yan. So, the punishment is being imposed so that the potential offenders will no longer commit the crime that was committed by the person who commits it. Diba? Yan. So, general deterrence yan. Pagka yung isa, pinarusahan para hindi pamarisan, general deterrence. Pagka yung dating nakulong na ayaw nang gumawa ng krimen, kahit nalalabas yan, meron siyang freedom para gawin yung krimen, meron siyang capacity para gawin yung krimen, pero takot na siya. Because that is a psychological effect of punishment. No? Yan. So, natatakot na gawin yung krimen, natatakot na gawin ulit yung krimen. Bakit? Dahil alam na mahirap makulong. Yan. So, yun po ang specific deterrence. Okay? So, general at saka specific deterrence. Deterrence parehas yun. Then you have incapacitation and protection. Ano ang incapacitation or protection naman? Ikinukulong ang isang tao, pinaparusahan yung pong isang naggumawa ng krimen. Why? So that the public will be protected. Okay? Para protektado yung publiko. From the word incapacitation, you are removing the capacity of a certain person to commit a crime. Pagka nasa loob ng kulungan yan, meron pa ba siyang kapasidad para isagawa ang krimen sa labas? Diba? Yan. So, yun po. For example, pwede pa ba siyang makapatay pag nasa loob siya ng kulungan? Pwede ba siyang makapatay sa community? Hindi. Sa labas, di ba? Because you are removing the capacity of that person to commit the crime. That is incapacitation. No? So, public will be protected, this protection, and the offender will be incapacitated. Mawawala yung kanyang capacity to commit the crime because he or she is behind bars. No? Then of course, huwag nyo rin kakalimutan, yung pong huli, pero isa sa pinaka-importante na justification of punishment, that is reformation or rehabilitation. Okay? Reformation, yung pagbabago sa pamamagitan ng rehabilitation program. Okay? So reformation, yun po yung pagbabago. Ibig sabihin, babaguhin yung offender. Mag-i-impose ka ng punishment para sa ganun, hindi na niya uulitin yung kanyang ginawa para siya magbago na. So, reformation or rehabilitation, though those are different, rehabilitation is the program, reformation yung pagbabago. What is reformation? Society's interest can be better served by helping the prisoner to become a law-abiding citizen, para magbago and to be productive upon his return to the society. Kaya, Pagka yung isang tao ay nahatulan, nasa loob ng kulungan, meron po yung tinatawag na institutional treatment program, no? Para sa ganon ay paglabas niya ay hindi na siya gagawa ng krimen, no? Then yun po yung papasok yung isang subject sa corrections na bago, yung tinatawag na therapeutic modalities. Ano yung mga therapy na ina-apply sa loob ng kulungan para sa ganon po ay magbago yung pong isang offender na nakulong. Yan, no? Next topic that we'll discuss is about duration of penalty. Ayan. So, sabi natin is punishment is the imposition of pain or suffering. Ngayon, ano ba yung pain or suffering na yan? Ano ba yung pagdurusa na yan? Yun po yung penalty na tinatawag. Okay? So, ano ang penalty? Penalty is defined as the suffering. No? It is the suffering. Ito yung pagdurusa inflicted by the state against an offending member of the society for the transgression of law. No? So, the penalty, ito po yung pagdurusa na ibinibigay ng Estado laban po sa isang offender. Kung kanina ang punishment, yan po ay remedyo ng ating society, no? Remedy of the society, no? Against laban sa offending member of the society, which usually involves pain or suffering, no? Dito naman, yung penalty, it is the pain or suffering. Ito na yung pagdurusa mismo. Diba? Oh, sa ating revised penal code, meron din tinatawag na duration of penalty. Gaano nga ba katagal yung pagkakulong kung isang taong makakumit ng krimen, no? Meron pong duration of penalty. Sa mga special penal laws, ay naka-specify po kung ano po yung penalty. Okay? But in revised penal code of the Philippines, which is the primary source of criminal law, no? We have death penalty. This is the capital punishment. Okay, capital punishment ito, no? Parusang kamatayan. However, this was already prohibited or suspended by Republic Act number 9346. Ibig sabihin, sa ngayon ay wala pa pong death penalty ulit kasi suspindido yan dahil may batas na naipasa sa pagbabawal sa pagpapataw ng parusang kamatayan. Kasi nga, petition po ang Roman Catholic and the Congress na yan po ang pagpatay ay hindi pa rin po makatao kahit na lethal injection po yan. No? Pero may mga senador at congressman na nagbabalak buhayin muli ang death penalty para sa mga heinous crimes. Okay? Yan. Then we have also the reclusion perpetua. Pag sinabing reclusion perpetua, that is life imprisonment or a term of 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. Okay, 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. That is reclusion perpetua. We have reclusion temporal. That is 12 years and 1 day to 20 years of imprisonment. No? Yan. Yung pong penalty, depende po doon sa crime na nakumit. Okay? Yan. So, reclusion temporal, that is 12 years and 1 day to 20 years of imprisonment. We have prison mayor, no? 6 years and 1 day to 12 years. Prison correctional, 6 months and 1 day to 6 years. Arresto mayor, 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. Arresto minor, 1 day to 30 days. No? For example, physical injuries, slight physical injuries. Yan, nasuntok mo yung isang tao, nabukulan, is arresto minor po yun, no? Yan. So, 1 day to 30 days na kulong. Ayan, no? Then we have ban to keep peace. It is discretionary on the part of the court. Okay? So, yun po yung ilan sa mga duration of penalties, ladies and gentlemen, as provided under the revised penal code. Under the special penal laws, the duration of penalty depends on the specific act that is provided under the law. Like, for example, illegal possession of firearms, meron pong nakalagay doon sa penalty. No? We have also illegal possession of drugs. Yan, naka-specify na po doon sa dangerous drugs law kung ano ang penalty. Okay, pagka ang violation mo, use of dangerous drugs, di ba? 6 months rehabilitation. Diba? Pagka possession of dangerous drugs, depende doon sa dami ng pong drugs. Yan. So, those are the duration of penalties. Katagal ng pagdurusa mo, pagkakakulong mo. Yan, excuse me po. Okay, so what are the two types of correctional system here in our country? Dito sa Pilipinas, dalawa po ang correctional system o sistema ng corrections. Okay? So, meron yung tinatawag na institutional corrections. Ano ba ang institutional corrections? At yung pangalawa po ay non-institutional corrections. When we say institutional corrections, offenders are being supervised in an institution from the word institutional. Okay? So, ang isang tao po ay makukulong sa loob ng kulungan, whether sa jails, okay, or prison. Yan po yung institutional corrections. Okay? So, the offender is being tried, corrected inside the institution. Okay? So, makukulong po siya. Kasi mas nararapat siyang makulong at mas magbabago siya pag nasa loob siya ng kulungan. At meron din po yung tinatawag na non-institutional corrections. When you say non-institutional corrections, offender is being supervised outside the institution. Okay, so nasa labas po siya ng kulungan. Okay, habang ini-enforce or habang durusahan or habang binubuno ang kanyang sentensya, nasa labas siya. Pero may mga condition. Diba? So yun po ang non-institution. Ibig sabihin, wala ka sa loob ng institusyon. Okay, non-institutional correction yon. Pero kapag ka yung isang tao na nahatulan ay ikukulong, institutional corrections yon. Okay? Yung probation, example po yan ng non-institutional correction. Yan. Parole. Yan. So, ano naman po yung pagkakaiba ng jail sa prison? Okay? So, ang correctional system ng Pilipinas ay under ng three agencies, no? We have DSWD, we have DILG, at saka DOJ. Okay? Ngayon, tingnan natin yung difference ng jail at saka prison. Ano ba ang difference nila? As to term of penalty, gaano kahaba ng penalty yung pong pwedeng makulong sa jail? So, less than 3 years. Okay? Yan. So, or eksaktong 3 years pababa. That is jail. Yun ang pwedeng makulong sa jail, yung pong mga nahatulan ng parusa na ang hatol is 3 taon pababa. Sa jail po pwedeng makulong. Pagka prison naman, ang pwedeng makulong doon is yung pong nahatulan ng 3 years, 1 day and above. Kaya nakalagay doon is more than 3 years. Okay? So, pakitandaan, pag saktong 3 years, jail po siya. Pero pagka more than 3 years, that is 3 years, 1 day and above, yung po ang more than 3 years, doon po siya sa prison makukulong. Okay. As to inmates, yung pong mga nakakulong doon, yung pong pwedeng makulong sa jail, convicted offenders, okay, convicted pero yung kanilang penalty is 3 years pababa lamang. Pending trial, ibig sabihin yung pong naghihintay ng pag-release, okay, undergoing yung trial, ibig sabihin dinidinig pa lang yung kaso, no? Yung awaiting for final judgment, hinihintay yung kanilang or hinihintay yung pong verdict or yung pagbasa ng pong decision ng korte. Okay? Yan. Sa prison, all convicted offenders ang pwedeng makulong doon. Mga convicted na, nahatulan na. Okay? Samantala sa jail, may nahatulan, may hindi nahatulan, may naghihintay ng judgment. Yan. As to administration, naman who administers, okay, sino yung nag-a-administer. Okay, so yung pong jail is under provincial jail or provincial government, yung pong mga provincial jail. Samantala, yung pong municipal and city or district jail is under ng Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. At ang Bureau of Jail Management and Penology ay under ng Department of Interior, DILG. Under po ng Department of Interior and Local Government po yung pong jails. Okay? Samantala, yung pong prison, no, is under ng Bureau of Corrections, under ng anong ahensya, under po yan ng Department of Justice. Okay, so tatandaan, no? Pagka 3 years, 1 day above, pwedeng ikulong yung pong isang PDL, person deprived of liberty, sa prison, pagka less than, at saka yung pong mga naghihintay ng pagdinig sa kaso, sa jail po yan. Okay? Yan. As to head, yung pong mga namumuno, no? District jail is under the BJMP headed by warden. Ayan. Samantala sa prison, in penal colony, in penal farm, it is headed by superintendent. Ayan. Pero ang pinakamataas siyempre sa jail lang, no, is warden. Pero sa kabuuan yung BJMP pinakamataas po is chief of the BJMP. Okay? Doon naman sa prison, yung pong pinakamataas naman na ranggo doon is undersecretary. Di ba? So undersecretary ang pinakamataas na position. Okay? Yung pinakamataas na ranggo doon is ang pinakamataas na position is Director General of Bureau of Corrections. Okay? Tubo sa prison. The highest rank is Undersecretary. Okay? Sa BJMP, ang highest rank is Director. Ang highest position is Chief BJMP. Yan, no? Pero ang highest noon, highest naman doon po sa Bureau of Corrections, highest rank, no? Yung rango is Undersecretary. That is Undersecretary Sir Bantag, no? And the highest position, yung pong Director General. Yan. So, yun po ang different, no? Okay. So, the Philippine Correctional System is under ng 3 agencies. Under po ito ng 3 ahensya. No? So, ang 3 ahensya na namamahala doon po sa PDL ng Pilipinas, Person Deprived of Liberty, no? ay DILG, Department of Interior and Local Government, Department of Justice, and Department of Social Welfare and Development. No? So, yung Department of Social Welfare and Development, under po nila yung Regional Rehabilitation Center for Youth. So, from the word youth, no, ibig sabihin, ang kanilang inaalagaan ay mga kapatid ay yung pong mga convict offenders na less than 18 years of age. Okay, but more than 15. So, 15 to 18. Diba? So, sila po yung mga nangangalaga doon po sa mga youthful offenders. Tandaan, no? So, yung DSWD po yan. Okay, so saan nila inaalagaan yung pong mga youthful offenders? Doon po sa tinatawag na Regional Rehabilitation Center for Youth, youthful offenders. Okay? Sa DOJ naman, ang yung pong bureau na nangangalaga doon po sa mga convicted offenders or PDL under ng DOJ is yung Bureau of Corrections, no? So sila po yung nangangalaga doon po sa mga nahatulan na ng korte ng penalty is 3 years, 1 day pataas. Okay? So more than 3 years. Teka nga natin. So inaalagaan po yan ng Bureau of Corrections. Okay, then we have also the Parole and Probation Administration. Sila po yung nagsusupervise ng pong mga paroli, pardoni at mga probationer. Okay? So yung pong nag-undergo ng tinatawag po natin na non-institutional treatment or non-institutional corrections ay under ng supervision ng Parole and Probation Administration. So, lahat po ng mga pardoni, paroli, at saka probationer, sila po ang sumusubaybay. Sila po ang nagsusupervise, yung Parole and Probation Administration. Okay? Ayan. Then, Boards of Pardons and Parole, ano ang trabaho nila? Sila po ang tumitingin kung sino yung pong mga eligible for parole at sino yung pong mga eligible for executive clemencies. Okay? Sino yung pwedeng ipardon ng president. So, ang tumitingin po niyan is yung Board of Pardons and Parole. So, under po itong mga ahensya nito is under ng Department of Justice. Okay? Yan. So, maliban sa PNP, no, na gusto niyong pasukan, pwede rin kayong pumunta later on pagka nag-graduate kayo at pumasa sa board exam, pwede rin kayong mag-apply sa Bureau of Corrections, di ba? So, pwede kayong maging Correction Officer 1, Correction Officer 2, ganyan. Pwede rin kayong maging Corrections Inspector pagka na kayo po ay nag-lateral entry. Okay, under ng Bureau of Corrections. So, yan. Okay. So, sa DILG naman, Department of Interior and Local Government, okay, under po nito, yung pong Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, diba? BJMP, kung tawagin po, no? So, ang BJMP ang nangangalaga doon po sa tinatawag po natin na district jail. Pag sinabing district jail, kulungan ng magkakalapit na munisipyo, parang yung pong nasa Ifugao, diba? O meron pong district jail sa part ng Kiangan, Ifugao, diba? So, kulungan yan ng mga undergoing trial doon po sa munisipyo ng Lagawe, Kiangan, at mga kalapit na munisipyo, sa district jail. So, under ng pangangalaga ng BJMP, no? So, yung pong mga municipal jails, under din ng BJMP yan, okay? Ang mga nasa BJMP, mga kapatid, yung pong dinidinig pa lang ang kaso, no? Yung pong mga nahatulan, pero ang hatol po, yung pong convicted offenders, but the penalty is 3 years below. Okay? Yan. Then we have provincial jail. Ang provincial jail is under ng provincial government. Okay? And ito po ay nasa pangangalaga ng provincial government. Diba? So, ang pwede pong makulong dyan ay yung pong galing sa ganyang probinsya, no? Sa probinsya, na kung saan ang penalty is 6 years, 1 day to 3 years. Yan, 6 months. No? 6 months, 1 day to 3 years. Yung po yung pwede makulong sa provincial jails. Okay? So, under yan ang pangangalaga ng DILG, Department of the Interior and Local Government. So, kung makikita natin, ano, iba't ibang agencies ang nangangalaga doon po sa convicted offenders ng Pilipinas. Ibig sabihin, yung programa nila, iba't iba rin. Ibig sabihin, yung resulta sa rehabilitation, iba't iba rin. Di ba? So, iba ang resulta pagka inalagaan ng DILG under the Bureau of Jail Management and Criminology. No? So, iba yung alaga ng BJMP, iba ang alaga ng Bureau of Corrections. Ganun din sa Regional Rehabilitation Center for Youth. So, iba rin ang result. Ganon, no? Yan. So, sana is magkaroon lang po ng iisang correction system sa Pilipinas, no? Isang agency lang. Pero sa ngayon, yan po ay tatlo. Wala po tayong magagawa doon, kundi pag-aralan po natin. No? Okay, so ano yung coverage ng Bureau of Corrections? Okay, ang Bureau of Corrections, yan po kasi ay sa may pinakamaraming nakakulong, siyempre, no? Para sa mga tao na nahatulan ng more than 3 years of imprisonment. Okay, so the coverage of Bureau of Corrections, ladies and gentlemen, includes New Bilibid Prison that is located in Muntinlupa, no, in Rizal. Ang New Bilibid Prison is nahahati po sa tatlong compound. We have the Camp Bukang Liwayway, Camp Sampaguita, at saka main building of the New Bilibid Prison. Yung pong maximum security prisoners, okay, maximum security prisoners, mga kapatid, yung pong mga maximum security prisoners ay nakakulong doon po sa main building ng New Bilibid Prison. O, maximum po ito. No? Yung pong kakarating pa lamang, no? Yan, considered as maximum security prisoners po yan. Okay? Pag binabantayan yung mga yan, kahit nasa medium compound, is considered sila as maximum security prisoners. Pero yung mga, pag na-classify na, of course, ang bubunuin na kaso is 20 years and above, ayan, nasa main building po yan. Mga matataas yung pong mga penalty. No? So, nasa main building po sila. Then, medium naman, medium security prisoners, no? At security, dyan po sa Camp Sampaguita. Yan. Medium security prisoners. At sa Camp Bukang Liwayway, no? From the word Bukang Liwayway, bumubuka ng liwanag para sa kanila. Ito na yung minimum. Yan. So, malapit nang lumabas. Konti na lang yung natira sa kanilang sentensya. Yan. So, baka hindi natatakas yan. So, or maliit na lang yung chance na siya itatakas kasi malapit na siyang lumabas. Diba? So, yun po yung tatlong kampo. Okay? So, tatlong compound. So, kampo ang Liwayway, you have Camp Sampaguita para sa mga medium security prisoners at saka sa main building ng New Bilibid Prison para sa maximum. Okay? So, hektarya po yan, no? So, may mga uniform po yan, no? Usually, pagka nasa main building, yung maximum security prisoners, ang uniform po nila is orange, diba? Pagka sa Camp Sampaguita is blue. Pagka Camp Bukang Liwayway, gray, diba? Yan. Pag detention prisoners, yun po yung yellow. Oh, sa Bureau of Corrections, pero yung tinatawag na Receptions and Diagnostic Center, na kung tawagin po ngayon is Directorate, no, for Receptions and Diagnostics. Okay, so ano ba ang ginagawa sa Directorate for Receptions and Diagnostics? Pag bagong dating, yung pong preso, dito po ika-classify yung pong prisoner kung saan siya pupunta, sa Camp Sampaguita ba or sa main building ng New Bilibid Prison. Okay, so ilang araw po ba siya dito? Maximum of 60 days. Yeah? Yan, sa Receptions and Diagnostic Centers. Ano ba yung Reception and Diagnostic Center or ngayon po is Directorate for Receptions and Diagnostics? It is the institution tasked to receive, study, o i-receive nila yung mga galing sa jail, diba? Galing sa Baguio City Jail, galing sa Ifugao District Jail, ganyan. Or sa IDJ, diba? At sa iba pang mga district jail or city jails. Okay? So sila ang magre-receive sa RDC, no? So they classify all national or insular prisoner. Pag sinabi natin kasing insular prisoner, no? Ito po yung mga nahatulan ng more than 3 years. Okay? Committed by final judgment to the national penitentiary. So sila ang nagre-receive ng mga bagong ibinibiyahing mga preso na nahatulan ng more than 3 years. Yan po yung sa RDC o ngayon po yung DRD or Directorate for Receptions and Diagnostics. Okay? So, totally, ilang araw ba sila sa Receptions and Diagnostics, mga kapatid? Yan po ay not more than 60 days po dapat para sa ganon ma-evaluate kung saan po dadalhin po yung isang preso, no? Then we have the Correctional Institution for Women, from the word women, no? Hindi po halo kasi ang national prisoners o insular prisoners magkahiwalay. Yung pong kulungan ng babae at saka lalaki. No? Siyempre, pagka magkasama, baka mamaya may mabuntis, no? So, dalawa po yan, no? Yung para sa babae, Correctional Institution for Women that is located in Mandaluyong City. Yung una po na Correctional Institution for Women, which was founded in 1932. So, meaning to say, kapag ka ang babae na PDL, Person Deprived of Liberty, ay convicted po ng more than 3 years ang imprisonment at siya po ay taga sa Luzon at sa Visayas, saan siya dinadala sa Correctional Institution for Women sa Mandaluyong. Pero kapag ka sa Mindanao naman, ay meron po yung Correctional Institution for Women sa Mindanao. Now, it is the most recent facility organized in the Bureau of Correction. It was only inaugurated in September 18 of 2007. Okay, para sa mga babae na convicted ng more than 3 years sa Mindanao naman. Okay? Yan. Pero pagka ang tanong, saan po dinadala yung pong mga babae na convicted ng more than 3 years of imprisonment, Correctional Institution for Women. Ang tinatawag na CIW. Pero pagka in-specify yung lugar, tingnan nyo kung Luzon o Visayas, yan po ay sa Mandaluyong City, CIW Mandaluyong, pagka sa Mindanao, CIW Mindanao. Okay, and of course, meron yung tinatawag na penal colonies. Pagka yung pong mga offenders ay tinatawag na minimum security prisoners na. Kung na-classify sila as minimum security prisoners, then pwede na po silang i-classify or classified na sila as colonies. Yung mga konti na lang yung bubunuin na sentensya, then pwede po silang mapadala doon po sa penal colonies. Kung sinabi natin penal colonies, sabihin pwede po magtrabaho sa bukid yung pong mga bilanggo, no? Yung pong mga PDL. Yan. So, under supervision, of course. So, ano yung mga penal colonies? Saan pupunta yung mga colonists? Okay, we have the Sablayan Penal Colony and Farm in San Jose, Occidental Mindoro. The Iwahig Penal Colony and Farm in Palawan, established in 1904. It is considered as the best prison without wall. No? Yung pong Iwahig Penal Colony na dating tawag dyan is Luhit Penal Settlement. We have also the Davao Penal Colony and Farm in Central Davao. established by General Paulino Santos in 1932. The San Ramon Penal Colony and Farm in Zamboanga City, established by Captain Ramon Blanco in August 21, 1869, and Leyte Regional Prison in Abuyog, Southern Leyte, the youngest institution, which was only established in January 16, 1973. Okay? Ayan. Then, meron yung tinatawag na correctional centers, no? Correctional centers, the rehabilitation centers for youthful offenders, whose ages ranges from 9 to 9, below 18 years of age, to be committed to care to the DSWD. Yung mga bata na humihit-hit ng droga o kaya yung pong mga rugby boys, ayan. Pero yung siyempre nakukonvict na offenders ng mga bata is yung 15, no? 15 above, but below 18. Okay, yeah. Pero meron yung pong mga bata na batang yagit na kung saan nalulong sa rugby ground, eh pwede pong alagaan ng rehabilitation centers. Okay? Then we have the drug rehabilitation centers, no? These centers has been established for treatment of drug dependence. So meron po yung treatment and rehabilitation center sa Tagaytay City, no? Under ng National Bureau of Investigation at Tagaytay City, and being funded by the Dangerous Drugs Board. At meron din yung pong drug rehabilitation center in Port Magsaysay, no? In Nueva Ecija. It is considered as the largest drug rehabilitation center capable of rehabilitating 10,000 offenders yung kanyang capacity, or 10,000 drug users yung kaya niyang i-accommodate. No? So it is considered as the largest drug rehabilitation center in the Philippines and in Asia. Okay? Yeah. Then, yung pong New Bilibid Prison, no, ay dati po na nasa Oroqueta Street in Santa Cruz, Manila, no? Pero nakipagpalit po ito doon po sa tinayuan na ngayon yung pong New Bilibid Prison. Okay? Pero dati po nasa Santa Cruz, Manila po yan. No? Tapos nakipagpalit ng lote, no? Yan sa kinakatayuan ngayon ng New Bilibid Prison. Okay? So, meron yung Old Bilibid na kung tawagin, no? Located in Mayhalic Estate in Roqueta Street in Santa Cruz, Manila. Ngayon, ang tawag na is Manila City Jail. Okay? The capacity is 600 prisoners. Okay? So, what are the general classification of prisoners? Ano ba yung mga klase ng mga nasa kulungan? No? Meron yung tinatawag na detention prisoners. Ano yung mga detention prisoners? Yung mga nasa BJMP, no? Those detained for investigation, preliminary hearing, or awaiting for trial. Naghihintay po ng paglilitis, no? O kaya hinihintay yung pong verdict, yung pong paglilitis ng kaso o kaya yung pong pag-promulgate ng judgment. Okay? And detention prisoners also include those under the jurisdiction of court, no? So sila po ay kailangan na nakakulong para pagka hindi po kinulong, sila po itatakas, di ba? So dinidinig pa lang yung kaso na in short pagka sila po ay under the jurisdiction ng court. Then we have also sentenced prisoners, sentensyado, no? Sentenced prisoners, offenders who are committed to the jail or prison in order to serve their sentence. Okay, after final conviction. Yung mga nahatulan, no? So, prisoners under the jurisdiction of penal institution na po sila. Okay? Yan. So, yun po yung mga sentensyado. Okay? Ito na, detention, hindi pa sentensyado. Okay? Then, prisoners who are on safekeeping. Yung mga may sinto-sinto, nananakit kasi sa labas. You know, no? So, includes non-criminal offenders who are detained in order to protect the community against their harmful behavior. Like for example, mentally deranged individuals, insane person, pero nakakasakit, no? So, they are being imprisoned for safekeeping purposes. Yan, no? So, ano naman yung klase ng pong sentenced offenders? Ha? So, ang klase po ng prisoners detention prisoners, sentenced prisoners, at saka prisoners who are awaiting for, or prisoners who are imprisoned for safekeeping. So, yung pong mga sentensyadong prisoners, may mga klase po yun. No? So, ano yung mga classification? We have insular or national prisoners. No? Insular. Pag sinabing insular, those uh, who are convicted to suffer the penalty of 3 years, 1 day to life imprisonment. Yan, no? So, yung pong nahatulan ng 3 years, 1 day and above. Okay, provincial prisoners, okay, so mga nakabilanggo sa provincial jails, okay, sino yung mga yon? Those convicted offenders who are convicted to suffer the penalty of 6 months, 1 day to 3 years, or a fine of not more than 1,000 pesos or both. So, 6 months, 1 day to 3 years. City prisoners, those who are from city, of course, na nahatulan naman ng 1 day to 3 years, so diretso. No? So, kapag ka yung isang tao ay nakakumit sa isang syudad, under ng jurisdiction ng isang syudad, ng crime na punishable ng 1 day to 3 years, nahatulan siya doon, then, saan siya ikukulong? Sa city jails. Okay? Pagka sa probinsya siya nakakommit ng crime, punishable yung kanyang nakommit ng 6 months and 1 day to 3 years. So siya po ay pinaklasify as provincial prisoners. Then municipal prisoners, those prisoners who are sentenced to suffer the penalty of 1 day to 6 months. Okay? Then of course, city is siyempre yung mga, paano yung mga munisipyo na magkakalapit na iisa yung pong kanilang kulungan. Ang tawag po is district prisoners, no? So parehas doon sa city yon, district. Okay, district prisoners. Okay, yung pwedeng ikulong ka sa district prisoners tulad ng Ifugao District Jail, di ba? So that is 1 day to 3 years din, yung pong district jail, ang pwedeng ikulong doon is yung mga nahatulan ng 1 day to 3 years. Okay, yan. Note, no, sentenced youth offenders are sent to Regional Rehabilitation Center operated by DSWD. Okay, so kahit ilan or kahit ano ang penalty na na-impose naman sa isang youthful offenders, basta less than 18 yan. So, ang may jurisdiction sa pangangalaga niyan is Department of Social Welfare and Development. So, kukunin nila yon, dadalhin sa Regional Rehabilitation Centers for Youth. Okay? Ayan. So, as to security, ano naman po yung classification? Nung pong yung prisoners, no, as to classification according to the degree of security. Siyempre, pagbabantayan yung pong mga nakakulong, meron pong degree yan, no? So, meron po yung tinatawag na security or super maximum security prisoners. A special group of prisoners composed of incorrigible, intractable, pag nakatakas, hindi mo na siya ma-track, sabi dyan, and highly dangerous. They wear orange in uniform. It is not present in the Philippines. Ito yung mga nakakulong noon sa Alcatraz prison. Okay? Yan. So, mas mapag-aaralan po ito doon po sa subject na institutional correction. Okay? Yan. So, super maximum prisoners. These are incorrigible, intractable. Okay? Tulad nila, Al Capone. Yan. So, maximum security prisoners could be dangerous. So, maaaring ito ay dangerous kapag ka nakatakas. No? For the security of the state. Movement are restricted. So sila po ang nakakulong, sabi natin, doon po sa main building na Jubilee Prison. So they are not allowed to work. They are not allowed to work in institution, but rather assigned to industrial shops only within the prison compound. They are confined at maximum security prison, NBP main building. No? And they wear orange color and uniform. Prisoners include those sentenced to serve 20 years or more. Yan. So, 20 years or more, maximum security prisoner po yung mga yan. Okay? Or whose sentence is under review of the Supreme Court. Okay? So, pagka life imprisonment kasi ang kulong, nire-review po yan ng Supreme Court. No? Ano pa? Medium security prisoners naman. So, the medium security are allowed to work outside the fence or walls of penal institution but under guard or escort. So, pwede silang pumunta sa outside, no? The penal institution, sa mismong kulungan, no? Pwede silang magtrabaho sa bukid pero under ng supervision. They occupy the medium security prison that is in Camp Sampaguita. It includes prisoners whose minimum sentence is less than 20 years and life sentence prisoners, yung mga nahatulan ng habang buhay na pagkabilanggo but they are already serve at least 10 years inside the maximum security prison. Okay? Yan. So, life imprisonment pero 10 taon na sila sa New Bilibid, sa main building. So, pwede na silang classify as medium. Then, minimum security prisoners, those who can be reasonably trusted, pwede na magpagkatiwalaan to serve sentence under open condition, kahit walang bantay, no? Ay hindi mo na problema kung tatakas o hindi. Kasi kapag tatakas, dadami pa yung araw ng kanyang pagkakulong pagka Senate race, di ba? So, yun yung mga malapit ng lumabas actually. They occupy the minimum security prison, Camp Bukang Liwayway. O, malapit ng lumaya, bumubuka na ang Liwayway or liwanag para sa kanila, di ba? So, ang medium is nasa Camp Sampaguita. O, nangangamoy pa lang yung bango ng Sampaguita. O, di ba? So, medium yun, medium. Pero pagka malapit ng lumaya, nililipat sila sa Camp Bukang Liwayway. They wear brown color and uniform or gray. No? Yun po yung minimum security prisoners. Okay? So ano naman po yung mga community-based corrections, no? Community-based corrections, ladies and gentlemen, includes probation as provided under the PD 603 para sa mga child, no? Or yung youthful offenders. Pwede po silang mag-avail ng probation under PD 603. Yung adult naman is pwedeng mag-avail ng probation under PD 968 as amended by Republic of Number 10707. Ano ba ang probation? So, sabi natin kanina, disposition po ito, no? Disposition ng korte, whether they will grant or not, no? Wherein after conviction, pagkatapos na makonvict yung isang nasasakdal ng penalty which does not exceed 6 years, i-release yung subject with the conditions imposed by the releasing court and under the supervision of probation officer. Okay, so nasa labas po yung isang tao na yon na nag-apply ng probation. Pero sinusupervise po siya ng probation officer. Pagka may mga violation po siya, anong mangyayari? Pag nag-violate po yung pong isang tao na nag-undergo ng probation, ang tawag po sa kanya is probationer, no? Then, anong mangyayari? I-report po yan ng probation officer sa korte, then aarestuhin na po siya, i-impose na po ang penalty, kukulong na po siya sa loob. Pag nag-violate siya ng mga condition ng probation. Okay? Yan. Kaya talagang pagka yung mga nag-undergo ng probation, talagang magpapakabait. Di ba? So may mga conditions yan, which we will discuss later in your subject, non-institutional corrections. Okay? Yan. So at least you have knowledge na meron palang ganitong klase ng corrections. No? Yan. Pag nahatulan, pwede palang hindi makulong. No? Pagka ang penalty is 6 years pababa. No? So, ano naman po yung parole? No? So, parole, wala yung isang convicted offender, wala sa loob ng kulungan, di ba? So, it is a process of suspending sentence. Suspend yung kanyang sentensya, no? After serving minimum of his sentence without granting him pardon, prescribing terms. So, may mga terms pa rin, may mga condition. Okay? So, basta na-serve niya yung minimum ng kanyang sentence, then pwede siyang maparulan. So, yan po ay ibibigay ng Boards of Pardon and Parole o BPP. Parolado, tawag. No? Paroli, ang tawag doon po sa isang tao nag-undergo ng parole. Pagka nag-undergo ng probation, ang tawag sa kanya is probationer. Pagka nagrantan ng probation. Pag tumakbo, ang tawag sa kanya is absconding probationer. Pag nagrantan na. Pero pagka nag-a-apply pa lang, tumakbo, absconding petitioner. No? Yan. Then we have conditional pardon. Anong conditional pardon? Pardon means forgiveness. No? So it is released through executive clemency. Ibig sabihin, ang nagbibigay nito ay presidente. No? A prisoner who is already reformed or rehabilitated but cannot be paroled because parole law does not apply to him. It is a kind of pardon under which convict is required to comply with certain conditions. Dalawa kasi ang klase ng pardon, no? Absolute, pag pinatawad na siya, no? Then conditional. Pagka may mga condition, under ng supervision pa rin, yung pong pardoni, under ng supervision ng uh, uh, yung pong PPA, no? Parole and Probation Administration. Ayan. Then, executive clemencies, may binibigay ng presidente tulad ng amnestia, no? Amnesty is considered as general pardon to political offenders. Like for example, Trillanes, no? And yung pong nag-Oakwood mutiny. Okay, so binigyan po sila noon ng amnesty. General pardon, ibig sabihin lahat po sila, no? Yan. Then we have commutation of sentence, binibigay din ng president, that is reduction of sentence. I-reduce po yung sentensya, no? Instead of 20 years, gagawing 10 years, you know. Then reprieve. Ano ang reprieve? Ito po ay binibigay doon po sa mga tao na ang hatol noon is death penalty. No, reprieve is the temporary stay of execution of sentence. So, pagka executive reprieve, yan po yung ibinibigay lamang doon po sa tinatawag po natin na may penalty na death penalty. So, ipo-postpone. Reprieve is the postponement of execution of sentence. Okay? Then of course, you have pardon, an act of grace extended to prisoners. Yun po ay pardon means pagpapatawad. So, ang pardon po, pwedeng conditional, may condition po yan. At pwede pong absolute, walang conditions. Okay? So, yun po yung bumubuo. Yung po sa ating subject na or ating topic na Penology, ladies and gentlemen, no, about corrections. Yun po mga detalye ay pag-aaralan po doon po sa subject na institutional corrections, non-institutional corrections, and yung pong tinatawag na therapeutic modality. Okay? So I hope that you have learned something from our very short discussion. Maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig. I hope that you can use the things that you have learned here in answering the questions that will be given in your quizzes during that. Thank you very much. Good day and God bless you all.